Gentlemen, so I promised I would do this, so I'm gonna do it. This is going to be a tier list of all of the main bosses, including like the big side bosses in all of the souls, in all of the main souls and the souls likes. So ones that come from software will be in here, right? So we got Sekiro, Elden Ring, Night Rain, Dark Souls 1, 2, 3, Bloodborne, right? The main ones. So, let's start with the top. The Vanguard Demon in Demon Souls. This is the tutorial boss. So, the thing with Demon Souls is it's a really straightforward game, and almost every boss is kind of a gimmick. But the Vanguard Demon is like a perfect tutorial boss. Like, this boss isn't, oh my god, hard, and there isn't a complete pushover either because of the time you fight it. So I feel like this boss kind of teaches people, this game is going to fuck you up. If you hate this boss, you're gonna hate the game. I think this is... I'll put him in A tier for now. I might put him up to S. The Phalanx. These are the guys with the spears and shields. Again, it's all a gimmick. The Phalanx are okay. I feel like they're not bad, but they can be really obnoxious if you don't have fire. Like, so you kind of have to circle around and hit and try to get behind the shields. It's kind of cool, but I feel like the boss itself is it's okay. Maybe a C tier, maybe. Tower Knight. I think Tower Knight's an S tier boss. Like, yes, it's an easy gimmick, but it's so cool how you have to strike the ankles and then he falls over and you have to attack his head. But the difficulty comes down to, do you clear out the archers on the sides? Yes or no? Right? And I feel like because it's Demon Souls and every boss is kind of a gimmick, the Tower Knight is probably the best of the gimmicks. Right? Let's see. The Penetrator. This is the boss that people have always kind of praised. And I suppose at the time the game came out, sure. Right, great. But I'm thinking back in hindsight, this boss is cool. Especially the design of the boss. But the boss has like 2 attacks. And that's like slash and spin slash, right? Like, all right. Try to view this from the lens of at the time, okay? I'm going to try to do that. I think at the time, it was a good boss, but I don't think it was amazing. I think the Penetrator can maybe... I think the Penetrator can be an A tier, I think. Cool boss, but kind of lacks in the movesets. Armored Spider. I've always heard controversy around this boss. Some people love the spider, some people hate it. I don't like this boss. Like, I kind of enjoy, again, the gimmick of you sprint in, and then the moment she puts down the oil, you sprint away. But I always thought this boss was kind of tedious and annoying. And it's got some really bad hitboxes when you get close to the boss. It's not great. Flame Lurker, potentially the hardest boss in Demon Souls. Again, I think this boss is a B tier. And the reason for that is I think the boss, again, it's the hardest boss in Demon Souls, which is kind of nice. But the moveset of this boss is kind of just clunk explosion, clunk explosion, clunk explosion. So it can get really, really fucking annoying to deal with the explosions constantly. But I don't think it was like a bad boss. Keep in mind though, I have only played Demon Souls twice. Dragon Guard, this boss fucking blows. I'm sorry, this boss sucks. He looks really fucking cool, but he's so annoying. Like, you have to sprint like down the alley, and you have to hide. And as he turns his head, if he gets a tiny glimpse of you, fucking boom in the jaw. But here's the thing, you need him to do that sometimes to break the walls. Sometimes, right? And he kills you in one hit in almost all instances. Sometimes you can survive it, but it's fucking annoying. Like, that entire area is just fucking annoying. I don't like this boss. The Fool's Idol. Fool's Idol. I think she's the mage in the prison area. So these games are not great at doing the caster bosses. And I think for the caster boss, this boss isn't the worst. I think it's a C tier. So this boss can be kind of obnoxious when she spams like the prison things on the floor. For those who don't know, she puts like a circle on the floor, and if you stand over it, you get immobilized for a few seconds. Wait, it's either that or it does a shitload of damage. I can't quite remember. But I do remember it being fucking annoying. But the boss itself was kind of cool, especially for the caster. The man-eaters, cool bosses. I hate the arena. I hate the fucking arena. So these guys are like the two flying things you get to after you fight her. And the arena to fight this boss is like a tall, skinny bridge. So if they just connect an attack once, you could easily be thrown off the entire bridge. So you have to like hug a light and hope you don't get hit off. I find this boss really fucking annoying. But the movesets of the boss are fine. I don't think it's a great boss, but I don't think it's the Dragon God. Old Monk. This is the first PvP boss they ever did, I think. I kind of like the idea of the PvP boss. And I do wish they brought this in Elden Ring as well. But they didn't have it in Elden Ring, unfortunately. But I think because it's a PvP boss and it gives players the ability to be a boss, and it was the first time it did it. I'm gonna put this above Flame Lurker. I think it's a cool concept, but it lacked in the variety of the things you're able to do as a boss. And if you play offline, you do the person you fight is an NPC using like a big hat. NPCs in these games are not great. I think if the NPC of this boss was better, I would put it in A tier. But I just don't think the NPC was great. Adjudicator. This was the big fat blob with the bird on its head. Again, this boss is a gimmick. You hit its sword in its belly and he falls down, and then you hit the bird. You can also cheese this boss using a bow, if I recall. I feel like I'm just trying to rank the gimmicks here. Well, I'm not sure about this. Adjudicator. I don't think Adjudicator is awful. I'm gonna put the phalanx below these, I think. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna put the phalanx here, and we're gonna put the eater boss. No, no, Stizzer. Uh, yeah, I think this one's better. So the adjudicator is a cool gimmick, I guess. But there are some really janky hitboxes on his swing, which isn't to be. You kind of guessed that, right? Let's see. Old Hero, he's the blind guy. So I always heard people hated this boss. I really like this boss. Like in terms of gimmicks, again, I kind of like how you can use items in the game, such as like the sneak ring, and I think there's a sneak spell as well, and it allows you to make this boss easy. But here's the thing: you're supposed to sneak behind this boss, attack, and then get the fuck out. But if you get hit, you're dead. Like he hits like a fucking truck. And I think that's a good balance of he hits hard, but if you understand how to stealth, he's cool. He's really cool. I think he's high B. Storm King, this was the first time they used Storm Ruler. This is a gimmick inside of gimmicks. I kind of like how it created the gimmick of the Storm Ruler, and that gave us the Snake Boss in Elden Ring. Which, but the fight itself is basically you gotta kill a bunch of like fucking birds using the Storm Ruler who spam projectiles. It's an easy boss. But here's the thing. You have to run through the boss arena to grab the sword, and then you have to quickly pause the game. And pausing in this game, it isn't like an actual pause. It's just an open the menu, and you can get hit by all the attacks whilst trying to switch to the Storm Ruler. So that's really fucking annoying. But the concept, the gimmick, I think it's a cool gimmick, but I think it's C tier. I hate how we have to sprint through the boss to get the sword. Leechmonger. So guys, I died to this boss. Yeah. I died to this fucking stupid ass boss. Now, why is that a problem? The run back to this boss is potentially the worst in the entire franchise. You have to run through an entire poison fucking area where there is at least 2 enemies who block everything. The bridge is blocked. The holes are blocked. Your ladder blocked. Everywhere's blocked. This boss, he made me so angry just because of the run back. I died once to him as well. And he does heal during the fight. So if you're not doing crazy high DPS, he's pretty fucking annoying. And overall, I don't like this boss. D tier, he's okay, but I don't like him. Annoying boss with an awful run back. Dirty Colossus. Dirty Colossus. Who's this again? Is he the big one? 1 minute, guys. Demon Souls. Let's see. I think this boss just swings around in circles, right? I don't really remember this boss that well. Oh, he's the one that spams the poison projectiles, isn't he? I think he is. This boss is really fucking easy. You would think he's kind of difficult because he just swings around in circles. He hits like a truck, but he's easy. The boss itself, I don't think he's a gimmick. Like, I don't think there's something specific you have to do against him, which is kind of cool for Demon Souls. I think he's above Adjudicator. Yeah, I'll put the Dirty Colossus here. Just because he isn't a gimmick. Let's see. So, I'm trying to get through the Demon Souls one because I've only played it twice. So I'm just going off of hindsight here. Maiden Estrella. So there's two ways you can kill this boss. One is you just attack her. So you can use a bow, or you can go around the right side and jump down, right? Or you can go to the left and you have to fight an NPC boss. Now, this NPC boss is pretty fucking annoying. He just stands there. He holds up his shield, and the moment you get just a tiny bit too close, he brings down a big hammer, bonk, dead. He can be a one-shot. This is, again, a gimmick. And the pit of blood that she's in is pretty fucking obnoxious. Like, the small, like, fucking creature things inside the blood, they do so much fucking damage. Holy shit. But I don't like NPCs. I don't like trying to kill the NPCs in this game. She's a gimmick, potentially the worst gimmick in Demon Souls. I don't like her at all. I'm gonna put her there. I don't think she's as bad as the Dragon God. Yeah, that's about right. But I don't think she's that good either. Old King Alont. I like this boss a lot. So, in terms of difficulty, this boss takes things in Demon Souls up to a whole new level. Like, every boss in Demon Souls is pretty fucking easy, right? It's all just gimmicks and ease and like 2 attacks. This guy is really fucking fast. He's aggressive for Demon Souls. He's tanky and he does a lot of damage. And the run back is this the one where you have to sprint past the fucking blue dragon? I think it might be. I'm going to put King Alont in S tier. I kind of like how this boss kind of set the standard for the difficulty of the future games, which I'm glad that the difficulty got spiked up. I think he's a really cool boss. I think he's the best in Demon Souls. But the run back is questionable. And I'm glad they stopped doing those run backs over time. Let's see. King Alont. I think this is the one where you beat the game and then he turns into a slug. Right? This one, that slug is fucking tanky as a fucker. And it's lame, okay? It's fucking lame. I'm just gonna put this in E tier. There isn't... You can't talk about this boss. It's just a blob. Alright, that's Demon Souls done. I'm happy with this. I've only played the game twice. Couldn't speak too much on the bosses because it's... the bosses are mostly gimmicks. Let's see. Alright, gentlemen. Now we've got Dark Souls 1. Asylum Demon. I feel the same about Asylum Demon as I do the Vanguard. I think he's a great tutorial boss. He isn't too hard. He isn't easy. He shows you that this game will fuck you up. If you cannot kill this boss, you're going to have a really rough time playing Dark Souls. And I think that's great. I think that's how all of these games should do it. Just an ST... Yeah, no, A tier boss. Taurus Demon. The boss would be fine if the arena wasn't such a thin piece of shit. I don't like his arena. You kind of have to spam roll into him rather than try to dodge the attacks. It's kind of annoying. And he does turn into a basic bitch a bit later on. I don't think he's anything special. I'm just gonna put him in C tier somewhere. Yeah, I'll just put him here. I don't really care for Taurus Demon. Moonlight Butterfly. Honestly, same place. No, lower. Leechmonger. Probably, yeah, here. I think this boss kind of sucks. It's just... it's just a fucking flying thing on a small bridge. And you have to dodge projectiles that do a shitload of damage if they hit. Sometimes the projectile is really janky to where you can't dodge it. And you kind of have to block it. And every so often she lands and then you do your damage. It's just a gimmick boss, I guess. I don't like the gimmick. I think it's boring. Next. Gargoyles. I like the gargoyles. I'm gonna be honest. So you can cut off the tail and get the axe, which is cool. There's 2 gargoyles. I'm trying to think if they attack you at the same time. So a problem with the gargoyles is sometimes they would both breathe the fire at the same time, and it was almost impossible to dodge the fire. But I don't think the boss is particularly hard. But I think it's a step up from like the Taurus Demon and the Asylum Demon to again show you that this game ain't no fucking joke. I think they're a B tier boss. Capra Demon. If Capra Demon had 20% more HP and he did not have those fucking stupid dogs, I would probably put him in A tier, just because I think he's a cool boss for Dark Souls 1. But combining the arena and the fucking dogs, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I fucking hate the dogs. I'm gonna put him down here with these guys. I would probably put him in B tier if they took away those fucking mutts. There isn't too much to speak on Capra Demon. He's got about 3 attacks. Jump and slam, swipe and slam, and a slam where he uses 1 axe. That's about it. You can cheese this boss by throwing bombs from outside the arena. But if you fight him in the arena, yeah, the fucking dogs. Gaping Dragon. Gaping Dragon. Where should we put Gaping Dragon? This is a boss where the devs kind of expect you to hit his head, but you almost always want to be behind by his tail. You can chop his tail off for an axe, I believe. He does have like strange explosions on his jump attack that are pretty fucking janky to dodge. You have to sprint away from this boss, and if you stay close, he does a lot of damage. I don't think he's an awful boss, but I think he belongs maybe above Dirty Colossus, about here. He isn't an awful boss, but his hitboxes are jank. He does a lot of fucking damage, and I'm not a fan of having to stand behind a boss to do damage. I feel like it takes away the enjoyment. Chaos Witch Quelaag. She's S+ because of boobs. Let's see. Quelaag is a challenging boss. She's in the worst area in the game, probably. So there's a strange thing with this boss. I think it's her attack where she spews lava on the floor. Sometimes this attack can be really weird in terms of hitboxes. I think her damage is fine. She isn't too tanky. Her moveset is predictable. Her spewing the lava can be annoying. But I think she's a cool boss. I'd probably put her above the Penetrator. Very solid boss. Ceaseless Discharge. Probably worse than the Dragon Boss. Now why? It's another fucking gimmick. So the way you fight this boss... So I'm not sure if this is the intended way or if this is like a bug that's always existed in the game. But you run into the boss, you pick up like the clothing, and then he spawns out the lava. And then you have to run all the way back to the fog wall, and then you wait for him to punch, and then you dodge the punch, or get hit by the punch, I guess. And his hand gets stuck. You hit him about 3 times, and dead. That's the boss. Now, if you don't want to cheese him, if that's called cheese, and you want to fight him the entire fight, he's fucking jank. He will hit you with everything just because the game says you got hurt. You could dodge, but his fist is so thick that you cannot actually dodge his attacks. You would just get hit anyway. I don't think he's a good boss. He sucks. Iron Golem. I always liked how you could hit this guy and cause him to fall off the bridge. I thought that was really cool. Moveset simplistic. The con to this boss is once you get under his feet, which is pretty much the place you want to be, he can't really do much to you. Like, you just spam RB, and he will just drop to the floor. The concept and the idea of him falling off the bridge is really cool, but I think the fact that you can just stand under his feet and he can't do much is kind of annoying. It's kind of lame. But I think he's better than Taurus Demon. You know what, guys? I'm going to put Taurus Demon down here. Yeah, fuck you, Taurus Demon. Stray Demon. Stray Demon. Which one's the Stray Demon again? Is this the flaming one, or is this the... No, that's the Demon Fire Sage. This is the one that's on that... If you go back to the starting area and you drop down, I think that's the Stray Demon, right? This is just the Asylum Demon, but harder. I think he might explode. But the reason Asylum Demon is so good is because he's a tutorial boss. This isn't a tutorial boss. And outside of being a tutorial, I don't think the Stray Demon was great. But I do think he was better than Taurus Demon. He's just a D tier. Not too much to say. Priscilla. I don't like Priscilla. I think Priscilla's ass. Now the reason is she's she's you can't see her, but you can see her footprints in the snow. And if she hits you, she does a bunch of damage. But it's so easy to not get hit by this boss. Like, you would think she would be challenging because you find her inside the painted world. And she's the boss you have to kill to get out of the painted world. But she's just a joke. Like, she's the boss you do just because you have to do her. I don't think she's as bad as I would probably put Capra Demon above. But I don't think she's not great. Ornstein and Smo. I think S Plus is going to be for very specific bosses. Ornstein and Smo is the only boss in the series, I think, where they got the double fight right. Like, the small one is fast, the fat one is slow. They don't attack you at the same time in almost all cases. If you kill Ornstein, then you power up Smo. If you kill Smo, you power up Ornstein in phase 2. They've tried to do this again in games that came after Dark Souls 1. They tried to do it with Godskin, but it doesn't work because they're both fast and they attack at the same time. They tried to do it with the demons in the DLC for Dark Souls 3. Again, these guys can attack you at the same time, but it isn't as frequent. But I think, like, just the premise of this boss, they got this right. Somehow in Dark Souls 1, they got it right, but every game after, they could not get it right. It's so weird. Not much more to say. I will say, this is the final boss of Dark Souls 1 before the game starts to fall off a lot. So I would class this as the final boss of the enjoyable Dark Souls 1. I like Ornstein and Smo a lot. Let's see. Gwendolyn. This is a boss where you sprint, hide, and then you hit him. He's kind of like the Dragon God, but not as annoying, I guess. I think this boss is just a fucking... I'll just put him down here somewhere. I don't really care. Above Priscilla, above Capra Demon, Leechmonger. Put him above Leech, above... I'll put him below the Eaters. Yeah, that's about right. Oh my god, Pinwheel, the hardest boss in the series. Where should we put Pinwheel, boys? The thing with Pinwheel, I feel like Pinwheel could have been a cool boss, but he's so fucking easy. Like, he dies in like 2 hits. He's such a joke. And if you want to get there at like a fair time, you have to go through the most annoying area. Just skeletons everywhere. In fact, I think the skeletons are harder than Pinwheel. So it's just strange, right? I think if he had a lot more health, he could have been higher up the list. But because he's just a joke, maybe next to Gaping Dragon somewhere? Nah, I think the Iron Golem's better. Phalanx, he probably belongs around here. Put this one at the top here. Yeah, I think that's about right. He isn't an awful boss, but he could have been better. Nito, I never liked Nito. I never liked him. I know some people like him. I never liked this asshole. He's spammy. You get a bunch of skeletons chasing you around at the same time that he's spawning in a sword to attack you from the floor. It's fucking annoying. And the worst part about this boss is you take damage every time you enter the boss room, because you enter the boss room and you have to jump down into his arena. And, like, why am I guaranteed to take damage? Just wear the cat ring. I shouldn't have to wear a cat ring for the fucking boss. It's stupid. Yeah, I don't like this boss. Fuck you. Nita, probably better than the Butterfly and Priscilla, because there's at least something going on. Capra Demon, honestly, there's no difference. The only difference is Capra Demon can be fought early on, and he isn't as annoying. Centipede Demon. You know the thing with Centipede Demon? I feel like this boss could have been cool if you got the ring before the demon. So I think you can't get this ring until after the demon. In fact, I think it's the demon that gives you the ring, right? To where you don't take a bunch of damage in lava. If we got this ring before the boss, he would be a really cool boss because he would give us a huge arena. But we kind of have to like hog the wall, like the wall you come in from, to fight this boss. And it's a tiny and that turns the arena into like a little tiny circle. And because of that, he can hit you just based off of his hitboxes alone, and you can't dodge it. He could have been a B. I think he could have been a B tier boss. But because you get the ring after, he's probably a high C. Demon Fire Sage, he's just the Asylum Demon, but on fire. And he explodes now. I'll just put him by the fucking Stray Demon. Where did I put the Stray Demon? Here, alright. Yeah, that's fine. Ain't much to speak about him. Oh boy. Oh fucking boy. Bed of Chaos. Everybody knows it. This boss is so fucking janky that you can perfect roll over the sweep attacks, take 0 damage, and the hitboxes will still push you into the fucking hole and instantly kill you. And the devs knew you were going to die because the fucking heart things on the side don't come back if you die. And this boss is so fucking bad that the devs apologize for it. This might be the only boss in the entire series to where the devs apologized for how bad this boss is. But they never changed it. Oh, we're so sorry, this boss is a piece of shit. Okay, so change it. Yeah, no, we're not gonna change it. Like, bro, this boss is so shit. Like, I don't even understand this boss. Like, so you can cheese this boss by throwing bombs from like the center, and then you look left, throw a bomb, look right, throw a bomb. But if you don't want to cheese this boss, you're gonna die, okay? You can wear the thickest armor, have a billion poise, it doesn't matter. Because even if you stagger through her attack, her hitbox will still just push you into the hole. Like, you can't do anything. You're just dead. This boss fucking blows. This is the worst boss in the series, and everybody knows it. I've never heard a single person say, the Bed of Chaos is actually decent boss and here's why. No. It doesn't happen because everybody agrees that this boss fucking blows massive balls. Alright. Grey Wolf Sith. I kind of like this boss because if you hit its legs, he starts to limp around and he tries to get people to feel bad for him. Moveset. He's got, what, 3 attacks maybe? kind of a cool boss. I do like the fact he uses Artorias' sword, and he does play a role in the lore behind Artorias. So he's kind of like a key point to the lore of the game. But in terms of like how the boss fights, I think he's a cool boss. I think Sith is a B tier boss. Probably isn't as good as Flame Lurker, but I think he's a cool boss. Let's see. Four Kings. I don't like how you have to use a ring to fight this boss. Like, it kind of takes away from the builds that you tried to put together. But in terms of the way the boss fights, I like the idea that you kill one and then the second one spawns. But if you're not quick at killing the first one, then the second one will spawn. If you can't kill those two quick enough, the third one will spawn. And then, like, the fourth one will spawn, right? So it's kind of like a timed boss. This boss is your DPS check, essentially. Now, if you've got, like, the stone armor, you can just stand there and heal against this boss. But if you're not using the stone armor, this boss can be really annoying with the home and explosion attack. So, like, it swipes its sword, and its projectile kind of comes at you slowly. And even if you dodge it, it will just come around again, and it will just keep coming around until it blows up. This can make the boss pretty fucking annoying, but I don't think he's a bad boss. Probably C tier, high C tier boss. Seath the Scaleless. I don't like how you have to die to this boss. I don't fucking like that. I think it's dumb. No boss should ever be like, you have to die to this boss. None. And this boss does. And if we're just going to talk about the boss itself at the bottom, the run back is fucking annoying. It's long. It's easy to die in the run back. Once you get into the boss, you can just stand behind him and he can't do shit. You just stand behind him and he will turn you around at the same time that he turns around. So you just have to stand there and do fuck all. He's a joke of a boss. I think he's worse than the Leechmonger. I don't like Seath very much. Gwen. Gwen is a very good boss. If you don't spam parry this boss, he's pretty fucking hard. Like, he will kill you really fast. I think his attack speeds are a bit over the top. Like, he swings very fast to where sometimes it can feel like you're not even playing the same fucking game. This boss, you're not really going to stone armor through him either because of his DPS. But I do think he's a really cool boss. I don't think he's as good as King Alon, but I do think he's a good end boss for the game. Sanctuary Demon, I fucking hate this boss. I'm just gonna put it in D tier because I hate this boss. This is the wolf, the first boss you fight in the DLC, like the scorpion dog thing. So he causes poison if he hits you using his tail, but that's not where I've got the problem. The problem is his lightning attacks. Sometimes he will spam the fuck out of his lightning attack, and it's going to be a struggle to dodge. It's fucking annoying. I don't like him. Artorias. I love Artorias. I think he's fucking great. I think Artorias is S tier. I think he's amazing. I think he's a super challenging boss, but he isn't too hard. He's predictable. The only thing I don't enjoy about this boss is he has this attack where he will spin, slam, and if he hits you with the first spin slam, he will hit you a second time and he will hit you a third time. Like, he will stun lock you in his attacks. I think at certain intervals during his health bar, he will kind of like explode and power up. You can stagger him out of it. If you don't, I think he does like twice the damage. So it kind of incentivizes you to be aggressive against Artorias. And it forces you to learn a challenging boss, and it pays off by properly understanding how the boss works. Almost every boss I've done so far doesn't really have that. I think Artorias is amazing. Now, Calamite. FromSoftware are not great at doing dragons. They never have been. I think their dragons have always been kind of mid. So I don't like how you have to go into his arena and then you have to leave and go and speak to the giant. I find that a little unnecessary. In terms of the fight itself, you chop off his tail, I think you get a really cool sword. Which is something I wish they brought back in Elden Ring. But they didn't. He isn't a hard boss. He can come across as challenging to begin with. But he really isn't. Something I hate about him is his grab attack. So his grab attack, I believe, causes you to take way more damage. And this can cause you getting one shot. But sometimes his grab can be really hard to dodge. I'm not a big fan of this boss. But I don't think he belongs in like a bad tier though. I think he's... Nah, I prefer Sif. I'd probably put Calamite above Four Kings, but he's still a C tier. Let's see. Manus, Father of the Abyss. Guys, I've beat Dark Souls 1 maybe 2 or 3 times. I never found Manus. I never found him. Now, how? I don't know. I have no idea. I found out about a year ago that there is a final boss to the DLC called Manus. I didn't even fucking know this. So I cannot put this boss on the list because I don't know. But I am planning on playing the game again. This time I am going to fight Manus, okay?